And you right here that ceiling structure, and you can see right here. That makes no sense at all. I will just build a model. Hey everyone, my name is Timo, you're watching Timber Timo, and in this episode we will continue building that ceiling over my shop. The ceiling is, how you can obviously see, finished now, and I'm very happy with the results. But let's jump a couple of weeks back and I show you how I did everything. That's how everything looked like a couple of weeks, or better said, months ago. Quite a big mess, but I had to put all the stuff from up there down into the ground floor to be able to work up there. You can already see the OSB boards and the drywall waiting there. There is this big beam running across through the ceiling and dividing it in two segments. I started everything off by using my new cheap China laser to get a straight line across all those beams. It was a lot of work to do, and I was really happy to get some support from my girls. But let's now jump back into the future, because the Timo of the present would like to show you some things on his model. At least 2/3 of your screw should go into the beam or stud. I put in screws like every 12 or 15 centimeters. You might find it helpful to mark the center of your beam on your OSB board. They should be flush in the ends, but watch out to not push them in too far. That's simply because when you do that, it's like holding nothing at all, and you can just rip the OSB board right out of the wood. So again, this is not good because it's still sticking out. This would be great, and this is not good at all. I would use 50mm or 2-inch long screws. I don't have any left. These are 40mm long and they would do it also. If you put in the screws, it's always good to wait with this last one until you did push the next board into it, because then it's way easier to do it. And if you are in a situation like this, that those boards just don't really want to fit together, you can always position this first screw kind of in an angle, which will really help you to like drive those two boards together. And if this shouldn't be enough, you can then still give it a slight whack. Driving the single boards together can be tough sometimes, but a rubber mallet does a pretty good job on that, because you can pound on the board directly and not on the sensitive tongue of it. But you will here and there just need a little bit more oomph. If that should be the case, you can then still pound directly on the tongue of the board if you are using a piece of wood to protect it. OSB is made from wood chips, which means that it also like shrinks and swells like wood does. This is the reason you should always leave some space to walls or other objects. Something between 1 centimeter and ½ an inch should be good. I did mark the position of every beam with a notch. This way I can easily find the beams later if I should ever want to hang something heavy to that ceiling. But I didn't tell you why I'm actually using those OSB boards yet, so it's about time to do that. It's for a couple of reasons. The first one is, in the next step, which will be also the next episode by the way, I will be putting 2 layers of drywall on this. One good thing on putting OSB on the drywall is that you can screw in any position that you want and you never have like loose joints between your drywall. Let me show you how that looks like. So these are 2 layers of drywall. That's how it's gonna look like in the end. 1 layer of this OSB board and 2 layers of drywall. And I can now like really put screws in any position that I want to, and you have to put a lot of screws in drywall. The second reason for using OSB is building structure and statics. I can show you this real good on my model. So these are 2 of the beams of that ceiling. They have a connection to the exterior walls. At the moment, nothing except of those exterior walls, and that's not what they are there for, is stopping those 2 ceiling beams from moving into this direction. So there can be a lot of shear force going on between those 2. And nothing is stopping them from doing that. When we put that OSB board back on, that shear force is taken care of because those 2 are not moving into that direction anymore. And we did add a lot of structural strength to the whole building. But that OSB board is not only acting as an under construction for the drywall that comes on later and to add structural strength to the building. It can also be used as a vapor barrier, and we need a vapor barrier in this situation because that ceiling we have to treat it like an exterior wall or exterior ceiling, because even if there is a roof above it, there's no heating and everything in it. It's basically, in building physics, it's like an exterior ceiling, which means we need a vapor barrier, and that's very important. Let me show you some things. Let me at first explain you why we need a vapor barrier. This thing is still upside down, so let's turn it around. This is how the ceiling looks like when you make a cut through it. Under here, this is my workshop, and it will get heated in the future. Unfortunately, it's not right now. That it's the reason why it's so cold in here. The air inside will be warmer and more moist than the air outside. That will be colder, which means that because of pressure differences and all those things, the air from the inside wants to travel through that ceiling, finding its way outside. That will cause serious damage to things like those beams or the insulation, which will be in here later. Normally, vapor barriers are made from like some kind of foil or membranes. I do actually have one anywhere up there. Well, it is dark up here. Let's bring some light in. Great. So this is actually the ceiling from up here. It's insulated now and everything, but I was searching for some vapor barrier, and I guess I found it right here. This is what it can look like. That's kind of a better one, but it could also be just like a transparent foil, which would be the cheaper version of something like that. But in the end, they're basically all doing the same thing, which is stopping the air from traveling inside your building to the outside. So a vapor barrier stops the air from traveling inside your building to the outside of your building to protect the whole building structure from getting damaged by mold or moisture or all those things rot. And it's often done with a foil or membrane, but the OSB board can act as a vapor barrier as well. You just need to take care of a couple of things. You need to get the joints of the OSB boards more or less airtight. And some guys say this can be done by simply adding glue to the joint, which is something I don't believe in. You need to put tape on top of those seams, and you can't just take any kind of tape. It needs to be a special tape for just that purpose. And those Cigar products are very, very good. It's like a very sticky tape, which looks like this. It's sticky like hell and also flexible a little bit, and it's great for those kind of things. So I did put tape on each and every joint of those OSB boards. And I for sure also had to connect my vapor barrier to the building. I did want to make sure that tape gets a really good connection to those old beams, which is why I took that quick sanding pad. I was also using that blue tape because I had it left over from a previous project. I was trying to put only so much tape on the beams that the drywall will cover that up later. Connecting a vapor barrier to a building is actually a pretty tricky thing to do, and every weak spot will cause serious damage to the building over the years. Which is why I take things very serious and close even little cracks like this one. Well, that is still not too much of a model, but that's just what the status of the build was like in that stadium. Beams, couple of OSB boards, tape and a couple of screws. If you want to see all this progressing, make sure you watch the next episode in which we're gonna put drywall on it, drywall mud and also paint. And that's it for today. I really hope we are gonna see us in the next episode of Timber Timo.